everyone. Thanks for watching.
My name's Air.
I'm Lori.
And this is Plan Free. I want to come at you guys with another video and give you a little peer inside our mindset when it comes to how we save money, and in this case, how we saved money this past summer. I want to start off with encouraging you all to balance between thinking about saving money and cultivating an abundance mindset. So we've learned through experience that if you spend all of your time focusing on saving money, you're actually going to take your mind off of an abundance mindset and making more money. And really at the end of the day, you want to give at least equal time to that abundance mindset. Thanks again for subscribing to our channel. It's free, it just takes a second, but it really helps a lot. Click the like button if you like what we're talking about, and the blue icon bell so you always know when the next video is coming out. Alright, let's get into some of the ways that Lori and I chose to save money this summer. The first decision we made to save money started before we even returned to Canada. So as you may know from one of our other videos, we spent 3 months in isolation in Bali, Indonesia, before coming home to Canada. And so that triggered a couple of things that we had to do. The first thing, we were required to quarantine when we returned home. So we were looking at grabbing an Airbnb for about $1,200 for 2 weeks for that quarantine. And then after thinking about it for a while, I think your mom thought of it, I'm not sure, but...
Thanks, Mom.
One of us had the idea that, hey, you know what? We've got this motorhome that we usually live full time in the summers anyway. Why don't we just grab the motorhome directly out of storage from coming home from the airport and compare the cost of being in a campground for 2 weeks over being in an Airbnb for that same period. So how that ended up crunching out was it was going to be about $1,200 for 2 weeks in an Airbnb, as compared to 2 weeks in our motorhome in a campground for $325.
No brainer.
Yeah, so that's what we ended up doing for a savings there of about $875. Second thing we did was every year we probably have some replacements and some renovations to do in the motorhome. This year one of the main ones that needed our attention was to replace an awning, basically a cover on one of our slide outs, our main slide out on the motorhome. So instead of getting it professionally done at a shop rate of, what was it, $180 an hour?
Yep.
Instead of paying someone to do it for $180 an hour, we spent a little bit of time on YouTube, learned how to do it ourselves. We went and identified, priced out, and purchased the materials. So instead of spending the hour-and-a-half shop rate at $180 an hour, which would have been about $270, we just did the labor ourselves and paid for just the materials, which was about $180.
Big thanks to YouTube, because we just checked a few videos and it looked simple enough for us to be able to at least try to do it. So we just did the repair on site.
So with this one here, is a little smaller, we ended up saving about $270.
And it was a very bonding experience.
The next thing we did was focus on free camping. We mentioned it in some of our other videos, but we live full time in our motorhome in the summer months here in Canada. And we took an average of what the approximate camping fees are per night around here. We came out with $25 a night, which we think is probably lowballing it a little bit, but we'll just keep it at that. So this summer again was shortened for us, after we returned a little late from Indonesia and after we did our quarantine. So we only ended up spending 8 weeks in our motorhome this summer, largely touring around the Canadian mountains, which we've done a video on. But when we take $25 a night and times it by 8 weeks, we end up with a savings of $1,500. On top of that, once you're random camping or free camping, you Americans call it boondocking, one of the main fees that you'll encounter is running your generator every day. And so what we did a little while back is we outfitted ourselves with enough solar power so that we almost never have to run our generator now. Before, when we were running our generator every day, we figure it cost us around $5 per day. Now that we have solar panels, we don't run the generator almost at all, so it's basically free every day for a $5 per day savings. Times that by the 60 days we spent in the motorhome, and it comes out to about a $300 savings. One of the things we did that accounts for maybe the largest savings here this summer was When we were still in Bali, Indonesia, we noticed that the interest rates dropped significantly due to the COVID situation globally. And so we started looking into what the spread would be between the interest rates that we had 2 mortgages locked in at and what the current interest rates were being offered at the bank. Long and short of it is when we returned to Canada, one of our first appointments were to reset both of these mortgages with the idea of saving money on that spread in interest rates. So in a nutshell, what we ended up doing was paying upfront one time around $4,500 in exchange for a savings of about $12,500 over 5 years. So in essence, we reaped an $8,000 savings spread over about 5 years, which turns out to be about $1,600 a year in savings. All right, the last one that we'll touch on is in the form of oil changes. We, being Lori, did the oil changes in both our vehicles, so that being the Jeep and the Motorhome. And when you look at the shop rates to do oil changes these days, we figured we were at about, actually you did the Jeep twice. So two oil changes on the Jeep and one on the Motorhome for probably what we think is about $400 in cost. And we think we spent about, $50 in materials to do that ourselves. And so in essence there we saved about $350.
You were a really good Sue mechanic though.
Thanks.
He was.
Your hands are up like a carpenter. Yeah.
It's because I'm
You hear
an
that?
oil changer. Extraordinary.
So from the items we've talked about so far, the savings comes to just under $5,000 in 5 months. Coincidentally, that's very close to what we generally spend to finance our 6 months away living internationally every winter. This winter here is unique, of course, COVID. So we're looking at possibly spending our first winter here in Canada in a very long time.
Happy about it though.
Super happy about it while we sit here and save more money as we weigh our travel options going forward. As mentioned before, we are still here in Canada. It's mid-December. We're usually long gone by now. We're sitting here in one of our vacant real estate rentals, which is another thing that COVID has gifted us, is an above average vacancy in our units. So the positive side of that is because we are experiencing a little bit more vacancies than normal, we thought instead of paying someone else's Airbnb fees, we'll just live in one of the spaces we own until it rents out. So it's kind of nice to be in one of our own spaces for a change. The decision to go ahead and stay in one of our own vacant units as opposed to paying someone else's Airbnb space is saving us about another $1,200 a month. So we're just adding that on top of the numbers that we already talked about in the video. Hopefully this gives you a little peer inside our mindset as it relates to how we can save money. We're always looking at ways within parameters of what we think is realistic to save money. All the while, we're trying to balance that with cultivating even more of an abundance mindset. Thanks again for watching. If you like what we're talking about here in the video, click the like button, subscribe to our channel. This is Plan Free. My name's Air.
I'm Lori.
We'll talk to you soon in the next video.
Thanks everybody for watching. He's Air.
And she's Lori.
That's good. We might actually like that.
Get good, man.
It's good to have the goof time. We actually need to start our videos with a bit of goof bomb and then go into the record bomb.